Okay, so this is the uh, forever loop, right? We are discussing about the loops. So, sorry, this is not forever loop, this is conditional loop. Okay, not forever loop. Forever loop is this one. Okay, sorry, this is forever loop. Okay, now this is conditional loop. Okay, so depending on the precise requirement, it can therefore be necessary to consider whether and how to ensure that the loop contains a run, at least one, that is the condition is false, at least one, that is at the first point, and whether how to ensure that the loop are not run indefinitely. At some point the loop will stop, because there is a chance, like for example, if you say if I don't put this change I, what will happen here? This loop go to infinite, right? I remains 0, and this loop go infinite. Every time it shows hello 0, hello 0. We are not changing I here, so the variable I must be changed here to stop the loop. Fine. So we must make sure that at some point the I will become 11 and the loop is stopped. That means the condition becomes true at some point after some repetitions, after some iterations, and the loop terminates. Okay, this must be taken care. The third loop what we have here is the fixed loop. We saw the forever loop, that is repeated forever and ever. We saw the loop conditional loop, that is repeated based on the condition. Condition is false, the loop is repeated, and condition is true, the loop is stopped. Fixed loop is if you want to repeat a set of statements a fixed number of times, 10 times, 20 times, 3 times, 4 times, how many times you want to repeat. So for example, what you see here, oh, sorry, yeah, repeat for 10 times. Okay, so you see this is repeated 10 times. Hello, hi, hello, hi, hello, hi. It's repeated 10 times. Fine. So if I change it, let's say for example, repeat for 5 times. Now again, hello, hi will be repeated for 5 times. Okay. So this is repeat fixed number of times. Repeat fixed number of times. So that's about the looping we have. So as a summary, we have 3 types of looping in OU build. Forever loop that is repeated forever and ever, and we can stop the loop by using the stop block. Okay, and we have conditional loop, that is loop is repeated based on the condition. And if the condition is false, the loop is repeated, and once the condition becomes true, the loop is stopped. Then we have fixed loop, that is the loop is repeated fixed number of times. Okay, so that's about the 3 types of loop what we have in OU build, and that gives us the basic idea about the looping in programming. So if you study later any other programming language, there also you will find this looping concept. Okay, there might be a difference in the syntax, there might be different like how you write the loop depending on the language, depending on the programming language, but this is a basics of any programming language, that we have the looping. Okay, we have the looping. Okay, that's about the looping. The next part here is string processing, or also called text processing. It means manipulation of text or words by a computer. That is what we call string processing or a text processing. That is manipulation of text or words by a computer is called string processing or text processing. So text may need to be manipulated in many different ways. For example, think of a word processor which give a piece of text might be search for first occurrence of a specific character, or replace every occurrence of a specific word or a character, or insert a character in between. Okay, search for the words. Okay, so string processing is an important thing in computer science. Okay, so we'll look into here like how we can, how the strings are processed. We'll we'll try to get some basic idea about how the strings are being processed. You look into this activity 4.8 as you see on the figure. This illustrates uh, that any string what we enter is, it gives some decorations to it, adding a asterisk or adding a star symbol or asterisk symbol to the text. Okay, so you see this one, it says enter a word. You enter a word that is stored in a word here. Then there is a set star word as a star, position as 1. Length of word. Length of word is what? Can someone tell me what is meant by length of word? Or a length of a string. So for example, I have this rover, Rover. What is the length of this rover? Yes. How many letters in the word? That's very good. And the length of the word, it means how many letters in the word. Okay. Now what is the length of the rover? The word rover, it is 5. Okay. So here the length of word, repeat 5 times. This means if we enter rover. Now we set the star word as we take the first word, position starting from one, first word, first letter of the word. First letter of the word. Let us check this in this one. Let's make a variable called word. So word, and we set the word to rover. Okay. Now let's look what is the length of the word. Length of word is 5. Set word to rover. Now length of word is 5. Say length of word, it is 5. Okay. Now it says length of letter of, so this is 5 times. Then it says letter of position of word. Letter of operator, you will get it here. Letter 1 of the word or letter 1 of the word, for example. This will give you what is the first character. It is R, right? So if I say, for example, letter 1 of word, it will say R. Letter 2, what it will say? Letter 2 of word, it will say O, right? So like this, letter will give you the letter in that particular position, or alphabet in that particular position in the word. Position is starting from 1. 1, R, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and we are joining this, the first letter with the asterisk. Okay, join with the star word. change the position by 1, again the second position, third position, fourth, fifth position. Finally, we say the word here. The word will appear something like this in a more decorated way, rover with the stars. Fine. So what we did here with the string, with the word rover, we manipulate it, we change it. Fine. We manipulate it, we change it. That's the manipulation of the word. So that's this script. How it works is given here. The value of the position is 1. Letter at position of the word is R, the first position. The word is rover. Okay. Now star, we add the star here. Star, R star. Then position is changed. Second letter O, O star is added. Position is changed. Third letter V, V star is added. Fourth position E, E star is added. Fifth position R, R star is added. Six is gonna stop the loop. Okay, because loop repeated. How many times it says to repeat the loop? It says only length of the word. Length of the word is 5 times. When it go to 6, it will stop. Okay, and hence you will get the output in this fashion. Fine. So the variable position, what we use here is called the index variable, that keep the index of every character in the word or every letter in the word. That keep the index of every letter in the word. Okay. Is the character within a string are accessed through this index variable. Through this index variable, we are going to access that character in the string. We say that the index variable enable the program to iterate through the string. Length of the word, of course, this will give you number of characters in the word, and hence in the loop we can repeat the loop number of number of character times. The basic idea of using the index variable is to repeat the loop, okay, and go to the particular every character by character by using the index. So if you have a character, sorry. So if you have any word, this word rover, R-O-V-E-R. So the index is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we use a position starting as 1. So this will go to this one. Okay. So the letter of position in the word. Okay. So position 1 will go to this. Position 2 will go to this. Position 3 will go position 4, position 5. Okay, so if you want to go letter by letter, and you want to repeat the loop, you want to repeat how many letters are there, that number of time you want to repeat the loop, we can use this length of word. Okay, and use that index variable to go through character by character. List processing and string processing, they have much in common. Okay, most of the things, because list is what? A set of values, and a string is what? A set of characters. List is a set of values and a string is a set of characters. So both are a set, right? Both are in sets. So they have much things in similar or in common. A string is a sequence of character, each numbered position. A list is a sequence of data item, each numbered position. You have seen the OU build provides similar blocks for each string and the the list. Okay. Suppose that you want to create a list called sentence, initialize it by number of words you enter. You will definitely use the add to block, but you don't know how many words that you will enter. Okay. This can be done by using a repeat until statement in a conjunction with what is known as Sentinel val. List processing here. Suppose that you want to create a list and you want to go on entering the words into the list. but you don't know when to stop. You don't know when to stop. In this case, what we can do is we can have a value that will stop the loop. Such value we call it as a sentinel value. For example, you go on entering the values, okay, add it to the string, to the list. Once you enter a particular value, for example q, okay, at this time stop the loop, stop adding to the list. So this q becomes the sentinel value. Sentinel value is a value that stops the loop. Sentinel value, I repeat, sentinel value means a value that stops the loop is called sentinel value. Okay, so we can use some sentinel value here to end the loop. For example, you see this figure, enter a word you want to add to the list or queue to quit. Fine. So you set the answer to the word, and if the word is queue, you stop it. Otherwise, you add that to the sentence and repeat the loop. Okay. Let us put this in OU build. We have a word and we need to take the list called sentence. Sorry, make a list called sentence. Okay. Let's say when clicked, say or not say, ask here, ask, enter a word or queue to quit. Fine. Now the next, set word to the answer. Okay. Now we check while, repeat until the word is equal to q. The word is equal to, repeat until the word is equal to q. Okay. Once it is q, it will stop. Fine. So in this case, what we will do now, we add the word to the sentence, and then we again ask the user, to enter word or queue to quit, and then we set the word. Fine. Now let us try this. Enter a word or queue to quit. Say hello. Hello is added. Enter a word or queue to quit. How? How is added. Enter a word or queue to quit. R is added. You can see the words are added here. Okay. R is added. Enter a word or queue to quit. U added. Now I will enter Q. Quit. No more asking. Now Q is called the sentinel value. Q here is called the sentinel value that stops the loop. Fine. So we can add something like this in the list. Fine. Read it again and again and use the sentinel value to stop it. For example, if you enter T, it will add T to the list. If you are for 2. Once you enter Q, it will stop the loop. Okay. So a list is a collection of data stored together and processed together. Loops can be used, to process the loops. Input the list to process the list one by one. Okay, just like a string, loops can also be list can also be processed. List can also hold numbers. What we add here, the list is with uh, values, with the words. Okay, we can also have a list of numbers. For example, list of temperature. Fine. Instead of asking to enter a word, enter a temperature or Q to quit. Fine. So we make a variable called TMPR, that is temperature, and we set the temperature to the answer here. Let us delete this. Sorry. Set temperature to the answer while the temperature. So I need to take here the temperature. The temperature is not equal to Q. Okay. Add the temperature to the list TMP. Okay. So then again, same statement here, temperature or Q to quit. Fine. Now the set is same here, set the temperature to the answer. Now this string will, this list will add the numbers as temperatures. So let's enter a temperature, let's say for example 21 degree. Enter a temperature Q to quit, 23 degree, 15 degree, 25 degree, 36 degree. Q will quit it. Fine. Now you see the temperature. It is 21, 23, 36. Fine. So list can be a list of numbers. Fine. Once we have the list of numbers, we can have following things. We can do with the list. Find the largest and the smallest of the list. Find the average of the list. Okay. List the number in order from smallest to largest. These are the simple operations that can be performed on the list. Okay, so here we talk about the list, finding the largest of the number in the list, or finding the sum and the average of the list, the smallest of the number of the list. Okay. For example, how can we find the smallest or the minimum number in the list? Found in the list of numbers. Okay, so how to find uh, the smallest of the list? Okay, so we can write first an algorithm for it, how to find the smallest number. Right? For example, let's see, this is an algorithm. Set a variable for the smallest number. Say the first number in the list is the smallest number. First number in the list is the smallest number. Okay. Now compare the second number with the smallest number. And if the second number is less than the smallest number, then make the smallest number as the second number. Getting? For example, let's say that I have these numbers 10, let's say I have these numbers 10, 5, 20, 3, 22, and I want to find the smallest of these numbers. This is a list of numbers, and I want to find the smallest of these numbers. So what the algorithm says is that you take the smallest number as a variable and set that to the first value. So you say smallest number is 10. Now check the next number in the list, okay, and check that the smallest number is or the list number, okay, list of the second number is less than the smallest. Fine. The second is 5. 5 is less than 10, false. Sorry, true. So we keep that 5, make the smallest number as 5. Okay. Make the smallest number as 5. You repeat the same process. Fine. The next you check this number, check the smallest number with 20. And then next check the smallest number with 30. Check the smallest number with 22. So every time you repeat the process, at the end you find that this variable Sn, the smallest number, will have the smallest number in it. Fine. I repeat this process again to be more clear to you. Let me erase all this. Fine. So let's say this is a list. These are the list of number, list of 1, list of 2, list of 3, list of 4 and 5. Set the smallest number as list of 1, the first number, so which is 10. The next you check if the list of 2 is less than the smallest number, then you make the smallest number as list of 2. So in the second case it is 5. 5 is less than 10, true. So you make the smallest number as 5. So the smallest number is now 5. Okay. You repeat the next for smallest number 3. Set list of 3, 20 is less than the smallest number, which is 5, which is false. So you don't make any change here. You check the next number, that is smallest of 4. The list of 4 is 3. 3 less than 5, true. You change that to list of 4. Smallest number to list of 4, which is 3. So now the smallest number is 3. You check for the next number 22. 22 is not less than 3. So we keep it as it is. That is the end of the list. And we see that the smallest number is 3. So this is how we can find the smallest number in the by using this is the way we can find the smallest number. Okay, so you can see on the screen the OUPL's program to find the minimum or the minimum temperature, let's say, or minimum smallest number, let's say. Okay, so a simple program, if you want to do it here in the OUPL, it can be done here. Okay, let's say this is the list we have, temperature list. Let's say when the space key is pressed, fine, we take a variable called position of the, okay, uh, and we take a variable called minimum temperature, minimum underscore temperature. Fine, we say set minimum temperature to the first of the position is first position. Okay, we take the position, set position to 1. Okay, set position to 1 and set minimum temperature to the 1 of the list. Okay, we have the list here, TMP as the list. Fine, one of the temperature, or we say position of the temperature. Position is 1. So here minimum temperature is, so when you press the space key, the minimum temperature is 21. That is the first. Okay, now we'll move to the next. So we'll go to the length of the temperature minus 1. Why minus 1? Because we took 1 as minimum temperature, the first one as minimum temperature. So no need to go from the first, we'll go from the second. Okay, second till the end. So the length minus 1. Okay, so we repeat length of temperature minus 1. So temperature here we have the length of temperature minus 1. Length of temperature minus 1. So we go for repeat number of times. Repeat length of temperature minus 1. Sorry. Fine. Length of temperature minus 1. Now inside this we check, we set the minimum, the first one as the minimum. Now we check if the position of the temperature is less than the minimum temperature. Okay, so we take here if the position of the temperature, if the position of temperature is less than, so we have to take less than here, the item of position of temperature is less than minimum. Here we have minimum temperature. Okay, sorry. Then we set the minimum as the item of position, the position of the temperature. This is the second item. Okay, we are going to set the minimum. So we set minimum temperature as this one, item position of temperature. So we'll put it here inside the loop. Okay, now we, of course, we need to change the position, we need to update the position. So we change the position by 1. So here we change position by 1. Okay, so finally you will have the minimum inside the minimum temp, the minimum value inside the minimum temp. So we can finally say that minimum of temperature is minimum. Join it here. Minimum temperature is minimum of temperature, and say this. Okay, so here we have the list. What is the minimum? Here you have 15, so we get 15 here. So let's press space key. Minimum of temperature is 22. No, this is wrong. We don't have 22 here. We have the temperature. Yes, minimum of temperature is 22. Now we did not set the position. Set position to 1. Minimum temperature, item of position of temperature, list. Okay. Repeat length of temperature minus 1. Okay. Item of position less than the minimum temperature. Then set minimum temperature to item of position of temperature. Change minimum of, sorry, we are changing here position, not minimum of temperature. Okay, now let's see here, minimum is 15. Okay, so from this list minimum is 15. Fine. So for this script to work, you need to first do this, run this, add these numbers, and then press a space to find the minimum. Okay, so this is how we can find the minimum of the list. Similarly, we can find the sum of the list, find the average of the list, find the sum of the list and the average of the list. Average is sum divided by the length of the list. Okay, here you can see we find the sum of the list. Fine. and we calculate the average and we display the average of the list. Okay, it's fine. So this is how we can use the looping along with the list to solve the problem of lists. To solve the problem of list. Similar kind of problems you may find in the exams. Okay, in the midterm exam or in the final exam, they ask you to write these programs, to take a list of numbers and find the minimum of the list or maximum of the list or sum of the list and average of the list. Okay. Problem solving with the loops. What clues are there in the program specification that tell us that to use the loop? Right, whenever we read some problem, what is the clue that tell us that we have to use the loop in this program? So words such as for each, how many, every, until, total, while, these are the words that tells that we need to use the loop. Okay, for example, for each child whose name is in the list, get the age and the address of the child. So it means that for here it means that we need to use the loop, okay, to go to every child and get the age and address of the child. Check the password to see how many times the space character is included, how many times inside the password. So it means that we need to use the loop to go to every character by character. Add numbers together until total exceed 100. What it means, go on adding the numbers until the total is 100, exceed 100. This also requires the loop. Play music while game is on, this is also requires a loop. So these are the words that in the program specification or the problem specification, which tells us that to use the loops in your program, to use the loop in your program. Okay, you take this program as an homework. Okay, back at home, do this program to find the sum and the average and try to print both sum and the average. Here in this program is only average is printed. Try to print sum and the average. Also do this program also to find the minimum and maximum. We did for minimum, right? Okay, do for maximum. There is only one small change here we need to make to print the maximum. Okay. Finally, we look into repetition errors, common repetition errors. Programmers or the beginners, they make some simple mistakes in writing the loops, hence they may not get the exact output. Okay, for example, the loop condition is incorrect. Fine. Data involved in the loop condition is not changed correctly. We did a mistake, like in this program, like, right, we changed the, instead of changing the position, we were changing the temperature, right? And when we see, we are getting some other result. Okay, what we have to do, we have to change the temperature position here, then only we can get the correct result, then only we will get the correct result. Fine. So these kind of simple mistakes, okay, will not give you the exact answer, or the loop will go infinite. Okay, for example, if I don't change the position, let's say I will take out this one. Now in this case, the loop is finite here, the loop will go, but you will not get the correct answer. Okay, you will not get the correct answer. So we need to change the position. Sometimes here repeat how many times. In this case also we need to be very careful, like setting the condition to stop the loop or to run the loop. Okay, sometimes using less than, we use the greater than symbol, that will give us the maximum number, not minimum number. Fine. So these kind of simple mistakes will not give us the correct result. Okay. This sort of errors may raise into problems like loops not executed at all, executing the loop in infinite number of times, accessing the wrong items in the from the list. Okay. So these kind of things you need to take care while writing the loops. Okay. You have to avoid these errors. Fine. So this is all what we have in this meeting, meeting number 4 in the course TM111. So I leave here some of the work for you to do at home. For example, this the star word here, the star word program to do back at home, and this one, yeah, finding the minimum and maximum. Along with this minimum, try to find the maximum, and also this one, finding the sum and the average, and try to print both sum and the average of the program. Okay.